What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Whenever we're talking about the women of WWE, there's always a clear gap from 2007 to 2014. Every time, WWE themselves love doing this, and at times refuse to mention there was actually some notable things going on in the women's division in those 7 years. And there was actually some stuff, like it wasn't all bad. Which brings me to Eve Torres. For somebody who never wrestled or cut promos as a heel, she sure as hell excelled better than others who had experience in that department. The iteration of Eve trumps a hell of a lot of things from 2012 WWE. It was the passive-aggressive nature, the way she spoke down to others. It was impeccable, and I feel it's time we talk about it. It's early 2012. Eve had been a babyface ever since she debuted, but suddenly she was slowly showing changes in her character. Gone were the days of dancing every so often and taking L's on a weekly basis. At this point, she was in a relationship with Zack Ryder, who was the United States champion. He ended up falling on hard times, and instead of helping Ryder during this tough time in his career, she opted to cheat on him on Valentine's Day with John Cena. Suddenly, she revealed what her true motives were. On the February 20th, 2012 episode of Raw, Eve Torres decided to chat with the Bellas and talk about how she truly felt about Zack Ryder. She laughed at the Bellas after they called Zack a great guy, it was a joke to her. Hell, Eve admitted that she used Ryder. He didn't even get to first base with her, and he wouldn't know what to do with a woman like herself. Eve noticed the Bellas and wanted to rationalize her actions, saying people in this world use each other. Not only that, but she was trying to get to John Cena as well. That plan backfired immediately as she bumped into the champ. Awkward. With what Eve admitted, she essentially unlocked 2005 John Cena. Why? Because he cut this extremely scathing promo towards her and The Rock. Fans were booing her already. Eve tried explaining things, claiming that her words were taken out of context, and he thought she said enough, but was willing to let her explain. John said that she had been sipping the skank juice, was planning to use her assets to further her career. He said that because of her, he lost a broski for a hoski. Hoski chants intensify, Eve stuttering over her words and had to scream in order to say something. She's like, oh, we were messing around, it was all a joke. So John Cena told her to go out and annoy The Rock. To him, they're perfect for each other because they're both scandalous bitches. And that kills her. She fell down on her knees, weeping, all while the fans chanted, Hoski, Hoski. He tried checking on her, but she randomly jumped at him. He runs away, says that he's disease-free and would like to keep it that way. Wow. John had no mercy, and it had been a while since he cut a promo similar to this. Especially in the PG era of WWE, you wouldn't see that version of him ever so often. The following week on Raw, Eve addressed the events of last week. Hoski chants intensify, and at this point she didn't care. She admitted that she uses men, and there's nobody that wouldn't love it. She refused to take blame for men being seduced by her, and if anything, the men should be blamed for their weaknesses. Michael Cole, as expected, was sucking up, and felt that her plan was working to fruition. She's more relevant in the last 2 weeks than she's ever been in her entire career. Kelly questioned her old friend's change of character, and all she could do was laugh. So basically, from my perspective, it was any publicity is good publicity. She turned into a very egotistical, extremely selfish person who at the same time was brutally honest about her intentions. Everyone was criticizing her. Kelly, Natalya, hell, even Booker T, who at the same time also admitted that if she were to use him, he'll accept that, but he doesn't like her actions. Eve didn't care or worry about Zack Ryder straight up admitting he's nothing and whatever, but then he returned. He reiterated John Cena's statements, bro, before Hoski, and now she's sad. Eve told the truth, not verbally, but with her actions, and now this guy's simping over. Essentially, Eve at her core is a glory hunter. Her attitude always switched to near Ryder, and he still felt confused. Like, she straight up said, oh, he doesn't know what to do with a woman like me, etc., etc. He questioned this whole thing, wanted to know if she's trying to play with him, but obviously she turned things around in her favor. She assured Ryder that she ain't playing with him and they're friends with benefits. In other places, she was set to team up with Beth Phoenix to face Kelly and extra host Maria Menounos. For WrestleMania 28, of course. So Menounos was interviewing Kelly on the set of Extra, right? Since Beth and Eve had the egos the size of Brock Lesnar's pockets, they weren't exactly happy about this. Drama ensues, it looked pretty dumb, but Maria challenged him to a match at WrestleMania. With regards to that, Menounos put in a decent performance for somebody who wasn't a professional wrestler, and as expected, Kelly and herself won it. And from here, Eve moved on to bigger and better things, but of course before that, she had to get rid of the dead weight, that being Zack Ryder. After doing the unforgivable sin of costing Teddy Long his job, Ryder afterwards was frustrated, but that would turn into pain after she kicked him in the balls, before walking to the back with confidence. Alright. The next night on Raw, despite the fact that the fans were constantly bombarding her with the Hoski chant, she did not give a damn. She giggled about getting her WrestleMania moment after manipulating Zack Ryder. But then again, to her, she said that it's easy to manipulate any other man, except for men who are in position of power, such as John Laurinaitis. She sucked up to him in this smartass in kayfabe. She sugarcoated it, showered the guy with praises, and eventually won a meeting with the GM. That meeting went well, and she ended up becoming the executive administrator and thus evil evil Eve Torres was born. Her role gave her some freedom, and because of this, she demoted Teddy Long and treated him like a joke. Torres had no compassion and was always stirring up drama. Like at one point, she prevented Beth Phoenix from wrestling for the Divas Championship, claiming that it was due to an injury, and forced the Bellas to face a mystery opponent. That led to the twins losing the title, and she ended up firing them the next night on Raw. She was always trying to elevate Laurinaitis verbally with every chance she got. She embarrassed the Big Show. Poor Teddy Long was verbally abused, forced to wear a big name tag, and at one point she got the chance to run SmackDown for a night, but disappointed Laurinaitis after failing to have Sheamus apologize for his actions. Oh, and Teddy Long was treated like trash once again. She asked for an iced coffee. He got the exact same request that she asked for, but she spat and shouted, "It's cold." So he's like, "It's supposed to be. It's iced coffee." Unfortunately for herself, Jean Laurinaitis was fired, and it meant she was relegated back to an active wrestler. Teddy Long became GM for a short amount of time and returned the favor. And this is, of course, after she failed to use her charm successfully. At this point, there was no real opening for Eve to pry on. It took a while, though. It wasn't until Booker T became GM of SmackDown that she tried to get a position of authority. Booker was caught off guard by her appearance, and so the sucking up began. But then Teddy Long interrupted and received a senior advisor position. Booker didn't really give her the time of day and, saying if anything opens up, yada, yada, yada. But nonetheless, she was hard-headed and persistent. To make matters worse, Caitlyn was brought in, and Booker T hired her on the spot as an assistant because Teddy referred her. Eve believed that this was because of a grudge with Teddy Long that affected her, and so she threatened to report to the board of directors. What was she going to report? That they were apparently discriminating against her. So Booker decided to have Caitlyn face Eve with the winner receiving the assistant position. With regards to that match, William Regal warned her, saying, "Power can be fleeting," and the poor guy was throwing trash. Like, how come I don't remember this at all? Despite the fear, she managed to beat Caitlyn clean in the middle of the ring to win the assistant position. Teddy Long, though, was looking like he was back with John Laurinaitis with that look, and straight after the match, she was eager to give out ideas. But Booker T wanted to know if she's going to coexist with Teddy Long. Obviously, she said, "Oh, yes, sure. I will remain professional." Why? Because she'll do anything to advance her career. Again, her ego got the best of her at this point. For example, she was eliminated by Caitlyn in the Battle Royal, but despite this, decided to come out and put the spotlight on herself. Speaking of that Battle Royal, Eve was pegged to win it, but she botched and Caitlyn accidentally won the match, causing her to burst into tears. Back on the subject of ego, she was overworking and putting in far too much effort into some very odd tasks that Booker never even asked for, and slowly but surely, she was winning him over. Even though Eve was in a position of power, she still found enough time to wrestle. This match in particular saw her face Caitlyn, the number one contender for the title. She beat her and shook her hand after the match, which shocked Layla, Miz, and Caitlyn herself. Oh yeah, they were having Miz on commentary. He shot for the champ to shake Eve's hand, and while she was initially reluctant, Layla did just that. Hell, Eve the Vulture went on tout, and that's how you know she's really sucking up. Like, who goes on tout? Fine, it was only for 2 days. But yes, she was doing any and everything. Like, whatever the safe option was, she was going to choose it. Like, oh, should they ban Sheamus' rope kick? Yes. Oh, because the wrestlers aren't safe anymore, it's dangerous, or something along the lines of that. But anyways, this is when it gets really interesting. At Night of Champions, Caitlyn was randomly assaulted by a masked person, and Eve made the decision of removing Caitlyn from the title match. Booker T promised to make it right, but Teddy reminded him that every title must be defended. He was like, "There's nobody on the roster that deserves a title match." So Booker placed her in the match because, for one, she actually beat Caitlyn, and two, she did well as his assistant. She even said that she'll compete for the good of the company. Eve made the most out of the opportunity and ended Layla's 140-day reign as champion. The commentary team felt suspicious about the entire thing, It's pretty damn convenient. Oh, Caitlyn gets attacked and Eve's the one who wins the title? She was trying pretty damn hard to change herself for the better, but others like Layla weren't trusting her 100%. Soon enough, though, Caitlyn made her return on the September 24, 2012 episode of Raw. Eve was looking like she saw a ghost, and to make matters worse, Caitlyn revealed that she's got the security footage from Night of Champions. While our attacker is not out of the question, she revealed that the woman who attacked her was a blonde. Right out of the gate, Eve blamed Beth Phoenix, who repeatedly denied it, and she even told Beth to stop taking advantage of people. Ironic, huh? Once Phoenix turns around, boom, she takes the Heartbreaker DDT. Okay, this story is much better than I remember it to be. I'm entertained, all that. Eve, once again using her position of power, decides to suspend Beth Phoenix indefinitely due to the ongoing investigation. Just because she was suspended on SmackDown, though, didn't mean she was on Raw, because Eve had to face her in a non-title match. Obviously, she tried to escape this whole situation, but that didn't work initially. Since this is Eve we're talking about, she always found a way to score the W in the end. With her ego getting in the way of her job, Teddy Long called her out. He said that he knew she had something to do with Night of Champions, and Booker T isn't as experienced as himself. He got caught talking about this, and Booker questioned him, asking if he's jealous of Eve's success recently. In other places, Kaylin finally made her return and received that championship opportunity on the October 8th episode. Layla sat down on commentary and continued to accuse Eve of the attack. As expected, Kaylin's injured ankle got the best of her. You know, Eve was like a shark smelling blood, and that tactic proved to be the key to victory as she won by submission. She kept the hold locked in, leading to Layla making the save, and of course she acted all remorseless and innocent. Those two were still persistent in proving Eve was the attacker. Apparently, Oksana claimed to have found a blonde wig in her bag. She quickly turned things around and claimed that she found this in Teddy's bag. You know, she's trying to make it seem like Teddy was out to get her. Layla and Kaylin refused to accept that. They were growing suspicious as the days went by. Soon enough, Layla got her title opportunity. She put in a fight effort, but Eve was very intelligent in going after the bad knee and even then had to cheat to win. This greatly upset the challenger as it was her one and only opportunity. Outside of the ring, Eve was stealing Teddy Long's ideas and was getting him in trouble with Booker T. But then, she made a crucial mistake by leaving her iPad in the office because Teddy Long decided to bring it in and show Kaylin some evidence with regards to Night of Champions. Now, what was this evidence? Well, hold on for a moment. She confronted Eve about this and threatened to tell Booker because she had went through her stuff, you know. I'm going to tell Booker you went through my stuff or something like that. What was the evidence? Well, apparently it was an email, and Kaylin told her to drop the act. Instead, she dropped her with a slap. They brawled. Layla got involved. It was chaotic, and this mess made it to Booker T's office, and Teddy Long tried relaying the information. Eve texted Oksana to take out Kaylin, leading to Booker replacing her with Eve. Just when you know there's no way out, she once again intelligently found a little opening. She claimed that she was too trusting, you know, leaving her phone and tablet out with no passwords, no passcodes, none of that. And it's possible that somebody was out to get her. Booker didn't know who to blame and instead booked a triple threat match between Eve, Kaylin, and Layla for Hell in a Cell. Despite the odds against her in that match, she managed to steer clear, scoring the W. Following this, Torres disappeared for a while until the final Raw before Survivor Series, where it was revealed that Kaylin was going to challenge for the title. With regards to that match, Kaylin was once again blindsided. Same as Night of Champions, but this time she managed to knock down the mystery attacker, and it turns out to be Oksana. Conveniently, Eve approached her and said, "It's a good thing you weren't attacked before our match." And the way she said it, the tone, it's not genuine. Right out of the gate, Kaylin was aggressive in her offense, and at one point she was crying and begging for mercy, but Kaylin didn't budge. Things are looking very bad for her, but you can't bet against Eve. She led Kaylin on and ended up hitting the Heartbreaker to retain the title. Once again, she found a way, and following Survivor Series would disappear. Now, I don't know why they didn't have their champion on either show. It wasn't until the December 10th episode that Eve actually appeared. I'm not sure if it was an injury, couldn't find anything on that, but she returned just in time for TLC and was much more arrogant than previously. Kaylin was still in the title hunt, and when Eve got the chance to cost her the title match, she made the most out of it. So instead of Kaylin, she faced Naomi. The challenger was fast, athletic, and was pretty dominant, but one mistake though was enough, and Eve retains the title. With regards to Kaylin, Eve had to face her in a non-title match on Raw. This time it worked in the challenger's favor as she won the match, putting her name in title contention. Now this match she was going to challenge for the title on Super SmackDown. I don't know why this match isn't on the network. I'm pretty damn confused over it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's extremely puzzling, but anyways, Kaylin was in form, was slowly but surely going to win that title, when Eve randomly held on to the ref to lose by DQ. Feud still continues. Eve was a fighting champion during this time in the year and wanted to defend the title against Mae Young of all people. There was this whole Champion's Choice thing going on at the time, that's the challenge, but Mae couldn't compete and instead Kaylin came out. This wasn't a match, I should know, just a full-on fight. Eve had to scratch and claw her way right out of there, and with regards to Mae Young, she couldn't compete because she was apparently pregnant. But for the third, fourth, fifth, I don't remember how many times, Kaylin got another chance. Match wasn't bad. Eve was bending the rules, attacking Kaylin at very opportune times, but she managed to fight back and begin her comeback. Eve was starting to get desperate, running away from the challenge, and then she grabs the belt and was like, screw it. Kaylin won by countout. Booker T took notice of Eve's actions and said that if she gets DQ'd or counted out, she loses the title. Her two-faced side emerged and it seemed like it worked, but Booker laughed it off. Teddy Long for the first time in a year was finally happy, but that quickly went south as Eve slapped them back to 2012. Alright, two things to mention about this match. One, it was the 20th anniversary episode of Raw, and two, Raw was in Houston, which was Kaylin's hometown. Initially, Eve was in control. She was desperately trying to wrap it up, but Kaylin was kicking out. She was pulling all kinds of moves, but then the challenger went for the comeback. She went for the clotheslines, shoulder tackles, and an inverted DDT that had the fans believing, but Eve kicked out. Things were looking bleak for the challenger because Eve hit Heartbreaker, but again, she kicked out. Suddenly, the champion was losing focus and almost screwed up in the process, but nonetheless, she righted the ship and believed that she was winning by countout. That proved to be a big mistake because Kaylin was actually in the ring, and she caught her with the spear. 1, 2, 3, new champion. That was a good-ass match. Fan involvement is extremely crucial, and this match is proof. The crowd was into it and enhanced the matchup. About an hour later, Eve whined and whined and whined. She believed that she was the victim and thought, screw this, I quit because of people like Matt Striker and the fans, and thus Eve was gone from WWE. So this very day, she had never had another match. Why did she leave? She was getting married, building a house, and couldn't fully focus on family with the growing WWE schedule. Add to that, she was teaching a woman's self-defense jiu-jitsu system. She was going to be the first female instructor for the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and here's what she had to say in an interview. I told him that I was going to be moving on from WWE, Torres stated. At the time, they were not investing in women's stories, and it was going to be one of those things where I just went away. One thing I wanted when I left was to make this Divas Championship mean something a little bit more than what it did, and to pass that on to Caitlyn. I had to work very hard for that. I fought for that moment because they weren't going to give it to us, and I wanted this title to matter. I wanted women's wrestling to matter, and it's just a drop of the bucket of where we're at now, but for me, it was really meaningful that I was finally able to pass something on. That was just special to me. So there you have it. I thought this was a very tremendous heel run for Eve. Obviously, it dragged the whole Caitlyn feud, which they shouldn't have, in my opinion, but it still doesn't take away from the year that she had. It's like she was meant to be a heel. She knew how to be that two-faced, rude, fake person in a position of power, and I just wish they did more with it. Like, eventually, have her be GM or Raw or something like that, but regardless, the run itself was good, and the women's division really did have a huge hole in the roster with her departure. Obviously, took a while to fill in the gaps. So, yeah. What do you guys think of Eve's run? Please comment down below. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit the heartbreaker on like button, or perhaps the Eve salt on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.